What's up, guys? It's your boy Ryan. I'm still trying to figure out how to work the camera well because Tyler doesn't go to school with me anymore. I'm really missing that male camaraderie in my life that I had when I saw Tyler every day and spent more time in his house than he wanted. So yeah, college is good, but I really miss Tyler and my other friends. I'm just sitting here with this pillow that Stacy with the CH gave me because I miss her. I just got back from an event because earlier today, so I'm walking across campus and this dude that looked pretty cool, he looked at me and is like, "Bruh," and I'm like, "What up?" He's like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "It's your boy Ryan," because that is how I introduce myself, even outside the context of this channel. And he's like, "Well, then I'm your boy Dylan," and I'm like, "What up, Dylan?" And he's like, "Do you want brotherhood in your life?" And I'm like, "I already have a brother." He's like, "Yeah, but do you want more brother?" And I'm like, "I think that's kind of out of the picture for my mom. I don't think that's happening." And he's like, "No, I meant join a fraternity, like all the cool guys do." And I was like, "A fraternity? I thought cool people joined a cappella groups." And he's like, "No, no, no." And he explained that it's this thing where you're brothers and you party, but you do more than party because you uh, philanthro something. So whatever you do, you help people out. I guess a guy named Phil must run it, and he helps you help people, and you raise money and stuff. So whatever, it seemed cool, and they said it was brotherhood or masculinity, and I'm you know, I question the idea of someone else defining that for me, but I was also I feel really vulnerable and lonely right now, and I feel the best way to combat that feeling would be to surround myself with a bunch of bros. Kind of like a sports team, but I don't play any sports in college. So I was like, yeah, I'd be down. And he invited me to informal Rush because apparently it's not formal yet. And I'm like, so if it's informal, I show up in jeans and an untucked button down, like a Sadie Hawkins. And he's like, "No, you can just kind of come in what you're wearing." And I'm like, "But it's informal." And he's like, "Yeah, what you're wearing is informal." But I'm like, "But does it informal mean kind of formal?" Because a formal dance is prom, and then you have your informals where you dress kind of nice, but not super nice. He's like, "No, this is nothing like high school." And I'm like, that seems to keep happening to me. People keep saying this is nothing like high school, and I'm like, how was I supposed to know? So to this party at this house, it looks like no one has repaired anything since the 70s, and every other Tuesday rhinos have a ballroom dance lesson inside of it. But it was a house, it was full of all these guys, and there were a few girls. It was kind of like being summoned to this beauty pageant where everyone was wanting to befriend you and get to know you. So I guess it was my debut ball. I see that in movies. One of my friend's sisters had a quinceanera, so it was kind of like my quinceanera, except there was we were all having a quinceanera because everyone was trying to pick us and get them to join their group. There was no alcohol there because it was a school sanctioned event, but there definitely was alcohol there. I definitely saw people with alcohol, but I did not drink any, Mom. I am completely sober filming this video, so A+ to me at life. There are 4 fraternities on the campus, much everyone's favorite young adult series that has 4 main groups that people subscribe to. Divergent, yeah. I kind of met a guy from each one, and I kind of figured out what they were like. Dylan was the first guy I met, the one I met walking around on campus. He was probably my favorite. He talked about hiking and being thrown in a river, and honestly, I want to be thrown in a river, so that sounded like a great time. He asked me about my classes and my roommate and my floor, and if those rumors of me being naked in the elevator were true. I mean, they were, but not if you're my mom. That never happened, Mom. And so he seemed really fun to get to know, and I noticed his group, his vibe, they were all men who like to shout. When someone scores a ping pong ball into the cup, they all go "Hello," or when someone almost trips but doesn't, they all go "Wah," or when someone actually trips, they all go "Bah." Yeah, like, so there's like a noise for like almost anything, and they all kind of shout together as a group. And I love shouting, so they seemed like a good time, and they seemed really nice. And then there was Derek, and he was in charge of this group that was like hot nerds, is what he kept saying, because they like thought they were really attractive, and like no shade to them, but they like were attractive, but I think they thought they were like more attractive than they actually were because they were talking to me like they were like Ryan Reynolds or something, and I'm like, you're just like a dude. Like, they thought they were like God's gift to the world and to women, and I feel like God definitely has something better to offer women than just like this group of random guys. So, whatever. They asked me about my classes and like made fun of my major for a little while, and that was, awful. They just kept talking about how smart they were and how they weren't like the stereotype, and they made fun of me because I thought they meant styrofoam, not stereotype. Those are apparently two different things. So then I talked to this guy named Jason. Jason seemed really nice, and him and his friends were all like, "Oh, we're just so awkward. We love the internet. We're really awkward." And I was like, the only thing that's awkward is how often you mention that you're awkward. Like, you're no Pimple Touch Jeff. Like, you seem normal. Like, why do you keep bringing this up and bringing this up? Like, the only thing they talked about was that they were so awkward. And I was like, I don't know, there have to be other things to talk about other than whether you're awkward. And like, I've heard literally a water bottle called awkward before. Like, it means nothing to me. So like, I didn't understand what they were going on about. But that would all pale in comparison to when I met Tim. Tim seemed like really charming and funny. He like had a pretty good Britney Spears joke that like I didn't get, but it seemed like it was funny. And he made me laugh, and so I was kind of like, oh, Tim seems like a cool guy. And then the more I noticed him and his group and what they were like, the more I realized I was utterly terrified and wanted to be as far away from them as possible, because Tim was a truly dark and terrifying human. Wrapped up in like his preppy exterior was the soul of potentially Lucifer himself. So I think I really want to join like Dylan's group because I love groupthink and friendship, and how the line between them is so thin that it's hard to tell, no matter how independent minded you are, like when you're floating between the two. And I think this would be a great time to explore that. And also here you get to do fun and weird shenanigans when you're like applying to join the club. There's nothing I love more than like an overly rigorous selection process when people analyze you like you're cattle, but also like are trying to seduce you. I'll keep you posted on like which fraternity I join, and I also keep you posted on my huge man crush on Dylan, because he's like 2 years older than me, so at this point he's like an aspirational figure. But he's like so cool and effortless, and he's been thrown into a river, so really I just want to be him, and I think if I hang out with people like him, I will become him. So comment below either with a man crush or someone who terrifies you utterly, and remember to smash that like button and hit the bell notification so you find out whenever I post a video, and like subscribe, because obviously I'm an internet sensation, but you want to become a bigger part of that, so just hit subscribe. So I will talk to you guys soon. T2AL, my peoples. Bye.